The very first event was back in 2009. Obviously things have changed considerably, but from the very first event, myself, I could see the concept was going to work. I felt from the first time we went there that it was something that was going to happen. You know, I knew the next year was going to get bigger and bigger, and now it's absolutely gone great guns for everybody, to the point of where it's actually a 3-day event, as it used to be a 1 and a bit day event. So, and it's only going to get bigger and better and badder. You can see now how many shops are actually attending. It's the focal talking point now for, you know, for now in the next 12 months, what's going to happen to Coota, what's going to happen to Coota, who's going, who's attending, what shops are going to be there. It's going to be the, you know, you got to be there or be square type thing, you know. We get a win, great. We don't get a win, we make sure that we go next time and do something better. So, so as far as that side of it goes, what we found for ourselves is, because there's so much talk and attention about who's the quickest, who wants to beat who, which shops wants it bad and whatever else. So, you know, I think it's quite amusing to sit back and watch everybody sort of like, you know, tease each other, so to speak. I'm not a big talker. I don't go out there and, you know, talk the talk. I like to walk the walk. So in that respect, yeah, I do let the cars do the talking. You know, sometimes we'll focus because we obviously have commitments both in drag racing and circuit and whatever else. So we'll switch from one to another. And some years we might not be able to focus as much on the drag scene as we will on circuit, and then it might turn out the other way. So at the end of the day though, yeah, we find it quite important for business. Again, I think it's an event you've got to be at. If you're in our industry or, you know, sport compact or import scene, you've got to be at that event. So, you know, that was it was a bonus, I guess. I'm not going to say that we went out we wanted to annihilate everybody. It just happened to be that car was prepped properly, prepped the way it should have been for that particular event. And you know, Ali's still a pretty fresh driver as well. He'd be the first to admit it. And for the car to do what it does with a fresh driver, and you've got kudos to him, you know, you've got to be pretty happy to go away with a few trophies. So, you know, all in all, we like to sort of have a slightly smaller package, so not a massive group of, say, 20, 30 cars, which we could get together if we wanted to do that, but we figured if we get like, you know, half a dozen, 7 or 8 cars together, that we can actually focus as a race team together and look after those cars, prepare them, get them there, get them to be competitive, and if they come away with something fantastic. So I think this year we've got, June 2, we've got Bo von Steglitz' car, which is on the dyno at the moment, it's getting prepped. We've got Chris Skinner's R35 GDR, which is, I think, a bit of a surprise package for a lot of guys. Yanni is coming with his R35. We've got Glenn coming with his R32, the white, famous from Roll Racing, having won 4 in a row. So I think that speaks for itself. So we'll see what it does at Cootamundra. 35s are going now because they're actually starting to become, you know, cost effective to buy, because the price drops, the more cars there are, the cheaper they are to buy. It's a lot more cost effective. A couple of years ago, you couldn't even touch one of those things. So they were just like 3 or 4 times the price in Australia to do something up on those compared to the US. Now, as far as, say, Chris's go, the specs on that, it's a built engine, CRD built motor. It's got a built gearbox in it as well. It's got a HKS 1000 horsepower kit in it. It runs all the fuel system. It's actually a 4A fuel system from the States. And it's just a number of bolt-on bits and pieces, tuned with a Cobb access port, V3 Cobb access port. I've found that works plenty good enough, and there's a number of 7-second cars running that setup in the States, which proves that the software does work through the factory ECU if you know how to use it. Yanni's car, on the other hand, that is actually a bit of a surprise package, I think, for a lot of people. Just got a transmission in it because he finally managed to destroy it. So the car's run a 10.2 at 139 mile an hour. Well, Bo's car's something that we built a few years ago for him. It was a combination between us and what he wanted out of the car. It's from Tasmania, so the guys you know, travelled all the way from down there to bring the car up for us to prep it for this weekend. That runs a 3-litre bottom end. It's actually originally a Rips bottom end, so, you know, Rob always does a pretty good job with those. And we've got the head on it, we put it all together and did, you know, the rest of everything else. Again, it's just here on the dyno. It's not the biggest of the 32s. I can tell you what, it's probably one of the torquiest of all the 32s. It just comes on instantly. It's like R35 torque. It's incredible to see what it does on the dyno. Gearbox wise, PPG, obviously they're finished developing the box. In terms of time-wise, I guess that remains to be seen. It'd be nice to get a high 9 or something like that. Records are there to be broken. You've got a record for a couple of weeks and you lose it to somebody else, and then you work to get it back again. And that's what motivates all the shops in Sydney anyway. So as far as what we want to do with the record, well, it's really up to Glenn what he wants to do with it as well. We prep, maintain the car, set it up properly for him, that sort of thing. His goal is to run an 8. He wants that record, and I want him as a driver to do it. Well, Cootamundra, the goal, you don't go there to come second, so the goal is to take out the event. I'm going to tell you that, Anthony's going to tell you that, Con and Vic are going to tell you that, the big boys, they're all going to tell you that they're out to get it, but you never take anything for granted. So we've got youth, enthusiasm, and we've got the older heads, which sort of settle the ship, make sure everything runs well, experience of having over 30 years, genuinely 30 years in the industry. And holding multiple world records, both in drag racing, national records in circuit racing and all that sort of stuff. And I feel we've got what it takes to be able to be here for the long haul. We've now brought that car more in line to some of the other front running cars, and because of that reason we believe we've got the goods. We had the mile an hour to run a big time. We just had a heavy car, full weight, the exhaust on it was like 30 odd kilos. That was on it was like incredibly heavy. And to go and run 187 mile an hour, 187.1, realistically on that second 7-second pass, it means the engine obviously has got the goods. We've made some changes. We hope to get back out there, and I believe that we've got it to run the 190 plus mile an hour. That's been my personal target. Robert knows that. So I'd like to run 190 and run it sort of fairly deep into the 7s. I'm not going to say I want a low 7 or something like that. 7.6, 7.7, 7.5, hey, whatever it takes to sort of be at the front.